This week on the Analog Circle podcast, we get some news on how many Xbox Ones have actually been sold. Fist of the North Star is coming west. Shenmue 1 and 2, the remakes, have release dates, and Dead Island 2 isn't canceled. What? This and so many more stories on this episode of the Analog Circle podcast. I want to welcome you guys to episode number 83 of the podcast. I'm your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and of course I want to say welcome, god dag on welcome to the podcast. Man, without further ado, I want to just jump right into it, cause it ain't nothing to it but to do it, brother. I want to start this off with my guy, good friend of the podcast. I mean, you know, guys, if you want to email the show, you can always do that by emailing the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com, or you can call in at 443-216-9934 and let your voice be heard. It will definitely be played or read on the next podcast. But I have to get into the feedback section because it's been so long since I've done so. And as always, the heartbeat of this part of the podcast is, of course, Mr. Cody Clark, because he keeps it going, baby. Keeps it going. So, Mr. Cody Clark wrote in this week, and he said this. Now, the title of his email is, "And That Game Is in the Pocket." He says, beat State of Decay 2 yesterday after tooling around in it on and off for a ton of hours. Well, by quote unquote beat, I mean I had a leader and cleared out one zone of all the bad jujus, picked a leader and completed all their quests. This prompts you to tell you that it is permanent and can't be undone, and then you get a legacy card for the leader that you can enable to get a buff for your next playthrough. So, yay. But I spent so much time in it, I'm sort of like, do I ever want to play it again? Probably will just pick up near next week and start something back. Or not. I am not even sure. It's summertime. Isn't this drought season for games? I can never tell. Keep cool. Don't work too hard. And I hope to see more podcasts as soon as you have the time and energy. Have a great start of summer, K. Listen, Cody Clark, I truly want to thank you for that, brother. And I thank you for your understanding, man. Guys, I tell you, my job has me working so much, and I know people don't care. People just want the content, and I get it. But I never want you guys to think that I ever take you guys for granted to just listen to the show. It's just when I get the time, I definitely love recording the podcast and always talking about the gaming culture, because that is my passion. That is the thing that I love to talk about the most. Some people love sports. Some people love NASCAR. Me, I love gaming. So it's always my thing that I'm just so passionate about. So I truly want to thank you guys and take this time out to say I definitely appreciate you guys understanding that I work pretty much every day, stay gone 2-3 times at a time, you know, when I'm out on a trip. If you don't know, I'm a truck driver, so yeah, it gets a little difficult. But Cody, this is really great news, man, because State of Decay 2, amazingly, this game actually got some very, very bad press. Game was averaging around like a 6.5, 6.7, maybe a 6.9 on a good day. But yet, the interesting thing about State of Decay 2 is it has 3 million players. Now, I'm not saying it sold 3 million, but Microsoft did say that it has 3 million players. And the interesting thing about State of Decay 2 is it's in Game Pass. And Phil Spencer had actually done an interview. Now, this is not going to be verbatim. I can't remember exactly what Phil said, but basically Phil said that since Game Pass has come into play, they've seen way more engagement on not just the games that are in Game Pass, but other games being sold, games being played. So he was actually saying that it's kind of like a gateway to actually get more players to be on more often. And I guess that makes sense. You have over 100 games in there. A lot of people can't afford to buy games. There's a lot of young kids out there, young teenagers that just don't have the money. And you have casuals that only buy maybe 1 or 2 games a year. So with them actually being in there, seeing all of these different games they can play, of course, it only makes sense that the numbers would go up. But it's been very positive for Microsoft because let me see, what was it? Sea of Thieves. That made over 1 million sales as well. And now you have State of Decay 2 doing absolutely phenomenal. So it looks like this Game Pass situation definitely has some merit to it. And I can't wait until the new Forza gets in there, the new Gears, the new Halo, the new game by Ninja Theory that'll be coming in there when that's released. This is an excellent thing. So I'm glad that you actually enjoyed it, Cody. I'm glad that you put so many hours into it, which really speaks to how good the game is. So I would like, Cody, for you to tell me in the next email, if you decide to, what would you rate this game? Because I didn't pick it up. I didn't play it. I never played the original. And, it was a little sketchy on this one. So I would like to know what you would rate this one. But Cody Clark, as always, brother, it's truly great to hear from you. I always enjoy reading your emails. They're always excellent. And I just love the engagement. I love engaging with you and all of the other listeners. So thank you for that, brother. But we're going to move on from Mr. Cody Clark's nice email into what I've been into this week. And God, dog, I must say, I have been into quite a bit, man. Since Microsoft actually released that update to the Xbox where basically, you're supposed to be able to play your games a lot faster when they're downloading, getting just the bare assets that you need to actually get the game started. So what I decided to do was, it was quite a few games I'd uninstalled because of hard drive space, but I have a 4 terabyte now, so can download tons of games. So I decided to go back in and just test this to see if it worked on any of the games that I had. Now, I did re-download Quantum Break, and it didn't seem to work with that. But I started playing the game again, and I gotta say, playing through it, not really playing through it, but just playing like maybe 2 or 3 levels of it, I gotta say the game was good. It was still a good game. Had some mechanical flaws, it was not like amazing, but I thought it was solid. I thought it was a really good game, and I really do hope for a sequel to that game. I know that, Remedy? They're working on the next game that has a female protagonist. I can't think of the name of the game. It was shown on the PlayStation stage at E3. But I'm interested in that game. I'll be looking forward to playing that on the Xbox as well, seeing if that may be a spiritual successor to Quantum Break. But outside of Quantum Break, I had downloaded Halo, the Master Chief Collector's Edition. I had re-downloaded that. Holy cow! That game has a ton of doggone gigs that it takes up. I think the update was like 40 gigs. So the game is just god doggone massive. So I downloaded that, and that actually did work. That game got to be about 60% complete, and I tried to, start the game. It actually let me start it, and bam, I was in it playing. The only thing I will say that I did notice when I did start playing it before it officially finished downloading completely, there were a few frame drops here and there and a couple of stutters with the sound, but nothing that was just, breaking the game. It was nothing that was crazy. It was just minimal. But it definitely started right up. I was playing Halo 1, and I gotta say, man, that game has aged really well. Now, keep in mind, I understand that the Master Chief Collection, of course, you can switch between the original graphics and the updated graphics. Now, what I'm talking about as far as aging goes, the gameplay is still buttery smooth on that game. I mean, my goodness, the gameplay is fantastic. I got sucked in. I beat like 3 levels or so. I was only supposed to be doing it just to see how well, the game would boot up, but it ended up sucking me back in. So that was a fun time. After I finished spending a little bit of time in Halo, I went on and got on to the PlayStation 4 side of things, and I gotta tell you guys, God dog, most of you that listen to the show, I imported Fist of the North Star, which is some good news coming, about that game a little later. But that game, I didn't know it was created by Sega, which was the same team that was behind Yakuza. So I went on and downloaded Yakuza on the PlayStation Store. And, Yakuza 6. And, man, my goodness. This was the demo. And, good gosh, I have never played a Yakuza game ever. And this game actually had me hooked. I mean, absolutely hooked. The story was very, very, very good. They give you a really thick slice of what the story is and the characters that are involved in this world. And the main character, his relationship with the other characters, good grief. Man, it's a touching story in the beginning. So I'm playing this game. Gameplay is really good. It's semi-open world. It's not like GTA or Saints Row where you can go anywhere. There are some blocks where, when I say blocks, I don't mean actual city blocks. I mean where you're just blocked off from access, in the world. But overall, still a really, really good game. I'm going to have to pick that game up. It's absolutely fantastic. And if any of you guys have a PlayStation 4, I would definitely highly recommend getting your hands on it and trying it out, man. It was really, really good. But outside of that, I'm still playing God of War, which continues to be a phenomenal game. Just absolutely phenomenal. And, that was about it. That's about it. God of War, I'm starting to close in kinda towards the middle part of it. I know I'm not near the end, but my goodness, the game continues to have an amazing story, great character development, excellent voice acting, incredible graphics. The game is absolutely a front runner for Game of the Year. I mean, it's no way. I'm telling you, I truly think that it's going to come down to God of War and Red Dead Redemption 2. One of those two, I just believe, is going to get Game of the Year. I don't know anything else that's going to come close. Maybe Detroit Become Human might be in there somewhere because that game is really good. Check the demo out for sure. Yeah, anyway, I'm rambling at this point, but, let's go ahead, man, and let's get into what we all come here for, baby. And that is for the gaming news. That went down this week. Now, I gotta let you guys know, some of these stories are gonna be old. Some of them are gonna be new because I have been off for about 3 weeks now. So, without further ado, wasting enough of your time, let's get it in. Let's start off with Nintendo. Now, they have just released it's not just released, it's on there now, but the original Donkey Kong on the Nintendo Switch. They just released it. Well, it is released for $7.99. Now, the interesting thing about this release is it will contain 3 versions of the game. It's going to have the international version, the Japanese original, and the updated Japanese version, which includes bug fixes. Also, it's being reported that this is an arcade perfect version. Now, one more feature is you can play the game on a 90-degree angle to play with a vertical screen layout, which is more reminiscent of playing the arcade version. So, for any of you guys that want to play Donkey Kong on the go and want that real, original version, then get it for $7.99 on the Nintendo eShop. Moving on. Now, this piece of news may be very interesting for people who are subscribed to PlayStation Now or have thought about subscribing. Now, this is according to a Reddit user via VG24.7.com. that a new download game option has appeared on the service menu. Now, this being reported as only piece of a placeholder. What? Hold on. This is being reported as only piece of a placeholder text because when you choose the option, it does nothing. But on the positive side, maybe, just maybe, this is something that could come to the service very soon. You just don't know. I think this would be a smart idea, and I messed up on that big time because I wrote it wrong. My apologies. So unprofessional. But, this is something that I think PlayStation definitely needs because right now, as I alluded to earlier and talked about, Xbox Game Pass, the really cool thing about that is you can download the games and you don't have to stream them. Streaming a game, even though some places have great internet speeds, a lot of people just don't have the broadband speed that some people are going to have. I mean, over in LA and, over there near Silicon Valley, I'm sure their internet speeds are off the darn charts. Whereas somebody in the middle of Wyoming, maybe not so. And that's not a diss to Wyoming or anything. It's just, that's how it is. Not all internets are equal. But we'll see what happens with this. Moving on to the next story. Now, into some Kingdom Hearts 3 news. Now, if you're similar to myself and are interested in picking up Kingdom Hearts 3, but have not played, I have not played the previous ones, so you don't know what's going on with the story and you don't want to, catch up on them by playing the prior ones in the series. Well, according to series director Tetsuya Nomura, man, I always get their names wrong. Nomura. Yeah, I think that's the brother's name. Nomura has a solution. Now, there will be a 5-episode long story recap that will last a few hours, according to an interview done by and translated by Twitter via user at, man, I'm just butchering this mother lover, man. Listen, man, the long and the short is, man, Kingdom Hearts is gonna have this thing where you'll be able to break it down into 5 episodes, man, okay? You'll be able to go ahead and look and see what happened with the Kingdom Hearts half-drawn distance verse fur or whatever the heck it's called, man. It'll be a quick catch-up for anybody out there that hasn't played the game to catch up and be caught up to speed without having to play the other ones, man, the draw distances and stuff like that, man. It's gonna be cool, man. Anyway, moving on from that guy, dog it. Oh yeah, I gotta give him his props though. This was a translation by a Twitter user at DKHF. And this will be included in the game. So yeah, this is a hooray moment, god darn it. Moving on, now this was interesting, man. On a side note, the Skyrim very special edition for Amazon Alexa is actually real. Now, I saw this thing at E3 and the guy, his name is either Keen or Peele. I forget him. He's the light-skinned brother from the Keen and Peele show. He was up there acting like he was playing the game. I'm like, oh yeah, this is kind of funny skit. But come to find out, this game is actually real. You can actually pick it up on the doggone Alexa store. and it actually has a 85%, 5-star rating on the store page as well. So this is nuts. But moving on from that. Now this next story isn't anything mind-blowing or, earth-shattering, but I'm going over it because I think this could be a positive thing when it comes to the upcoming game Halo Infinite. Now, senior environment artist Regilio Ojuan, man, you can tell I ain't done this in a while, brother. Regilio, that brother. He is actually leaving Naughty Dog to join 343 Industries to work on Halo Infinite. Now, as far as his background, he's worked on the reboot of Tomb Raider, where he did optimization of environments. He did texture and material creation. He did organic and hard surface modeling. Now, he also worked on The Last of Us and Uncharted 4, as well as The Lost Legacy. And he had started work on The Last of Us 2. So we all know that Halo has been, pretty much on the decline lately. Hasn't been doing amazingly well. And I'm pretty sure that's why they've taken a pretty big time out on the game and not really released it too much. Not released it too much, but haven't released a new one so quickly because they're kind of going back to the drawing board. So I think that with this guy, and of course Microsoft has opened up, the purse again, so they're paying for talent, they're hiring people, they're, buying up new studios, they're opening up, studios, or I should say they're opening up new studios and buying studios. So, it's clear that Microsoft is definitely in this console gaming space for the long haul, where a lot of people said that they were not. So, with that all being said, it's great to see that they're hiring talent, and with them actually getting someone from Naughty Dog who has these amazing games up under his belt. The Last of Us, Uncharted 4. I just read the list, Tomb Raider. With Halo actually having a new engine, having some outside environments, showing some rhinos out in the field or some wannabe looking rhinos or something. This could really be well. Like I said, nothing earth shattering or crazy, but something that's it's just something great to see that they're hiring new talent to possibly help bring this game into, bring it to new heights. We'll see, man. This is terrible. You guys have to understand, man. Oh man, I'm never one to, to fake, excitement. Man, I gotta just be real. It just hasn't been groundbreaking, shattering news lately, that has been coming out. And, my excitement level just hasn't been there. But, I love talking about this stuff. So you just have to excuse me if I just seem off a little bit, and not really into it too much. But, it is what it is, man. We're going to get through it. We're going to get through. All right, moving on, into some Xbox news. Now, there have been a ton of people, YouTube personalities, etc., who have tried to speculate what the Xbox One has sold. Some people said that it was 25 million units. Some people said it was 20 million, especially when EA really started talking about it. People were like, oh yeah, the Xbox One has sold 2 doggone consoles. That's it. 2 max. Now, of course, Microsoft came out and said that the numbers that EA were reporting on, they weren't true. And people said, well, if it isn't true, run those numbers, Microsoft. How about you run them? Well, even though Microsoft hasn't said the numbers themselves, according to a market research outfit, IHS Market, the Xbox One has a global install base of 39.1 million as of March 31st, 2018. Now, at that same time, it was reported that the PlayStation 4 had a base of 76 million at the time. So, this being March 31st, we're talking about 4 months later? Well, going on 4 months later. I'm sure it's safe to say that they've probably sold about 40 million by this point. So it definitely would gel to be, not gel, but it definitely would be correct that the PlayStation is in fact selling 2-to-1, because I'm not even going to go over that next story. That story is a little further down the line, but it was reported that, of course, they have, reached 80 million officially. That's Sony. 80 million. And I believe in May, they sold like 235,000 units, somewhere around in there. So nonetheless, it's definitely, being killed by the PlayStation 4. But when people were saying it sold 25 million and 20 million, that's definitely debunked. It's definitely sold 40. I'm pretty sure 40 by this time. At bare minimum, 39.1. So, I mean, me personally, I was actually kind of shocked. I thought they were hovering around 30, maybe 35 million. So for them to have been able to have come up with pretty much 40 million close to the end of this generation, despite all of the bad press, despite the 900p 1080 versus 1080p gate, them, having to overcome the Kinect situation of it spying on you and including it in the box where so many people didn't want it, to them having the DRM situation that was going on that people didn't like, to having to be online 24/7 or checking in every 24 hours, for them to have had to have conquered all of that. And the crazy thing is people want to sweep that stuff under the rug like it didn't matter. Like, oh man, it just, the system just sucks because it was 900p. No, I mean, it was way more than that to it. So for them to have actually been able to have sold half of what the PlayStation 4 has sold, me personally, some people will say, man, that's bogus. They're getting killed. I just said they're getting killed. But despite all of the uphill battles that Microsoft has had to deal with, they don't have games. You don't have exclusives. You don't have studios. I mean, for them to have been able to have come out at pretty much 40 million and the generation still isn't over for another 2 years or so, I think that says something about the company. So, it is what it is. They're still losing, but I think that, like I just said, them having to overcome what they did and have the numbers that they have, I think that says something. But anyway, moving on to the next story. Now, this may be excellent news for game players who are Yakuza fans, as well as Fist of the North Star fans, because Sega will be bringing Fist of the North Star Lost Paradise West. Now, it will release in North America and in Europe on October 2nd on PlayStation 4. I was so overjoyed to have seen this report, because I'm going to tell you, as much as I enjoy that Fist of the North Star game, let me tell you something, brother. Having to try to figure out what you have to do and you don't read or speak Japanese, man, it is impossible. I've been stuck on this one part for weeks because I don't know what the characters need me to do. I'm running around trying to figure out, could it be this? Could it be that? Could it be this person, that person that I need to see? And I have not been able to figure it out. So this is really a doggone heck of a darn thing for me, because the gameplay is great. Graphically, it's great. I can't tell you much about the story. I mean, I'm looking at the cutscenes and I can kind of piece it together because I know the lore, the Fist lore, but to actually say that the story is great, I really can't comment on it because I don't know what they're talking about. So this is excellent news for anyone that's a Fist fan, anyone that has seen this game and wanted to get it but didn't want to import it. This is going to be incredible. Definitely, like I said, check out the Yakuza 6 demo to get a better feel of what Fist is going to be like because they are pretty much the same when it comes to gameplay. Pretty much, you know, with the flashy knockouts and the finishers. Pretty much the same, just different lore. But moving on to the next story, into some more Xbox news. Lots of gamers were hoping, this one kind of bummed me out actually. You know, lots of, gamers were hoping that we would have seen a VR unit on the E3 stage at this year's conference, but we didn't see anything. I mean, at the very least, maybe a mixed reality headset, right? I mean, something, but no. Well, more info has come out about this via Microsoft Chief Marketing Officer, Mr. Mike Nichols, who said, and I quote, "We don't have any plans specific to Xbox consoles in virtual reality or mixed reality. Our perspective on it has been and continues to be that the PC is probably the best platform for more immersive VR and the, mixed reality." End of quote. Now, they had Todd Howard, get up on stage at E3, what was that, 2017 or 2016, one of those two, get up on stage talking about how amazing VR was going to be for the Xbox One X, and it was going to be incredible. They did all of these third-party deals. I think it was HP had one, Samsung had one, and someone else had one. And they were supposed to be compatible with the Xbox, but nothing. Now, I understand VR isn't necessarily lighting the world on fire at the moment, but it would have been nice to have seen something on the Xbox side. I mean, PlayStation VR, it is still the number one selling VR headset out there because the price point is just so much better now. And I think that Microsoft would have look, all they got to do is put a Halo game on there. That doggone Halo game they got in Dave and Buster's right now, all they needed to do was bring that to a VR headset and bam, you got something you could have built off of it. I mean, Sony, whether it's a huge success or somewhat of a fail, I have to give Sony a lot of credit because they continue to push out VR software. And as a result, they are the market leader. So it would have been nice to see Microsoft do this, but maybe they'll do it on the next Xbox system. Who knows? But it's not much more to say about this. Let's move on to some Shenmue news. Now, more Shenmue news has come out, and it has been confirmed that this release is not a remaster, but it is just a re-release. There are some improvements to the game, however, though. The game will run at 1080p with widescreen support and better load times. Now, the game has also been given a release date of August 21st of this year, and it will sell for $29.99. Now, if you pre-order the game, you will get 10% off. And if you decide to get the physical version, it will come with a double-sided Shenmue poster. I'm really happy about this. It would have been great to have seen the game actually get a remaster instead of a re-release, which basically means It's really not going to be any improvements to the game graphically. They're not really trying to put that kind of money into it. You will get 1080p, however, and faster loading times. I guess that is something. But I was a big fan of Shenmue back on the Dreamcast. I beat it. Shenmue 2, I got it on the Xbox, the original Xbox. And for some reason, I didn't finish it. It was slow. I mean, Shenmue is a slow game nonetheless. But it seemed like 2 was real slow, brother. I mean, God dog. I think I hit the port, fought some people first, and next thing I know, I'm trying to catch a doggone leaf from a tree with a chopstick or something. I don't know. But that part really pissed me off. I kept kicking the tree. I couldn't catch the leaf. And I was like, man, forget this goddamn game. I don't need this in my life, Yu Suzuki. God darn you. So I left it alone. But I would like to get it to try to prepare for Shenmue 3, which will come out in 2025 sometime, I'm sure. I mean, they're saying it's supposed to be next year, but it was supposed to be this year. You just never know what Yu Suzuki is doing out this mother lover. But anyway, nonetheless, we'll see how it's actually received, because we know the gamers say they want one thing and then they don't pay for the mother lover. They wait for it to go on sale. That's what kills me about some gamers, man. You know, they say, oh man, you know, give us this. We want this. We want that. And, you know, these publishers and developers listen to the audience and they're like, nah, I'm going to go ahead and wait for a sale for that. You know, I mean, granted, Mirror's Edge 2, people wanted it so bad. It came out and people were like, nah, it doesn't look too good. Didn't get great reviews. Now, granted, I mean, the game has to be worth something, but yeah, anyway. We'll see. Went off on a tangent. Moving on to the next story. Now, I'm sure by now, all of you are familiar with Mr. Joseph Fares. Now, if not, the two games he has worked on were Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, and the newest edition, A Way Out. Well, it was confirmed by Mr. Fares that him and his team are back to work on another title under the EA banner. And this is the quote. Yeah, we're with EA. It's no problem. End of quote. He also went on to say Hazelight, which is the name of the studio, have been working on the game for, quote unquote, just a couple of months. He also said that the game is in early pre-production, but in 4 weeks, they're going full production. Now, if you were wondering when is the soonest we will get something, we will see something on this game, Fares said in roughly about 2 to 3 years, maybe we will show something. Now that's a quote by him. His quote is, in 2 to 3 years, maybe we will show something. Further into the interview, he said, the game will be very different from his last 2 titles and will be a bigger production and a longer experience than A Way Out. So we'll see. Mr. Fares, you know, A Way Out, I definitely wanted the game very, very badly, but I don't play online. I just don't. And I don't like the fact that a game is hinging on you actually playing online, you know, with someone else. If it had been a non-co-op experience, it would have been dope. I would have picked it up and done it very, very quickly. But that was definitely a hindrance. So hopefully, whatever game he's working on, if it's going in a totally different direction, hopefully, just hopefully, it does not have to be co-op, because it seems like that is his theme. He wants to have 2 different characters on the screen at once. And Brothers, A Tale of Two Sons, I did play it. That was pretty good, man. I didn't finish it though. No way did I finish it, but it was pretty good though. But we'll see, what Mr. Fares has up his sleeve, when this game comes out in 2 to 3 years, when they show something. Moving on. Oh yeah, we talked about this. This is the PlayStation thing where they sold the, 80 million, up to 80 million units. The more interesting thing about this, some of these numbers is, how many games they have sold already. The PlayStation 4 has actually sold Now this is May. This is up until May. We're in July now. Up until May, they had sold 530,263,232 games. That is astronomical. That is astronomical. I mean, my goodness. Yeah, they're not hurting at all for money. Sony is doing quite well. We know that they're opening up some more studios, and they're not stopping their train from rolling. They have plenty of development studios. They have, Sony Santa Monica. They have Naughty Dog. They have, David Cage's team, who has been working exclusively with them, along with the Gran Turismo team, and good grief, several other companies that I just can't remember off the top of my head. But this is great. Congratulations to Sony, man. You guys are doing amazingly well. Now, moving on. Now, how would you feel about being able to travel? Yeah, being able to travel to multiple timelines in an Assassin's Creed game. Well, according to Ubisoft Canada's executive vice president of creative, Mr. Lionel Renaud, said this will happen. And this is the quote that he says: "We all see a future where a game will stay post-launch. New experiences will come in the games." But wait a minute. Whoa. Okay. We all see a future where a game will stay post-launch and new experiences will come in the games. Okay. But we will have technology that will break the current limits of memory. For instance, because of new technologies that are arriving, we would be able to, in the same world, have several historical periods. For instance, in Assassin's Creed, and use the animus to travel from one to another. End of quote. So, this really doesn't seem like it's that far off now. I think it's called DLC. He's saying that, I guess with the game or something to do with the limited memory, of these consoles, that they can't put various time periods into one game, which, look, I'm not a developer. I didn't go to school for it. I have no idea how to code, but in my mind, I'm just thinking, man, just do DLC. I don't know, why that's such a big deal. He's saying having a game last longer. You guys have been doing that, but nonetheless, he's saying in the future, expect for newer Assassin's Creeds to have multiple timelines in the same game. So, that would be dope. I would love to go back to the prehistoric times and then some kind of way morph into 2138 with hovering bicycles and, tricycle cars and all kinds of craziness or whatever the future may hold, holographics and all. So, this is interesting. We'll see what happens, man, with this. Assassin's Creed, man, you gotta freaking love it. On a sidebar though, Assassin's Creed Liberation HD and Ghost Recon Advanced Warfighter are now backwards compatible on the Xbox One. They continue to rock out. I think it was a report that was saying that Assassin's Creed Liberation made the whole franchise basically complete, where you could play everything on the Xbox One. Every Assassin's Creed made, just about. I think it's still missing one. I think Liberation was on the PSP or the PS Vita, I think. I don't know. Anyway, moving on. Now, do you guys remember the Dead Island 2 trailer from E3 2014 that was shown on Sony's stage? I sure do. Joker, who was running and with a doggone Walkman on, and stuff didn't go too well. But funny enough, that was the last time we have seen it. So, I thought maybe, it got canceled, stuff didn't work out, and it was all over. Well, according to Deep Silver, the game is still in development and will still be released. Now, this was done via Twitter, where a fan asked if the game was still in the works. Now, back in 2015, Yeager, who was the original developer, parted ways with Deep Silver, and it wasn't until March of 2016 that Sumo Digital took over the project. Wasn't Sumo Digital working on Crackdown, I think? Anyway, as far as the design of the game goes, the company had this to say, and I quote, "We have an ambitious design that we're confident will take bone-crushing, visceral zombie action to a whole new level." End of quote. Now, as always, no release date has been officially given, but it does at least give people that are looking forward to this game a little bit of hope that the game will come out. Now, I think Deep Silver, are they the ones that are behind the new game coming out by Remedy? I think they are, producing it. I'm not sure. I don't know. But Deep Silver has been really busy. They've been, dipping their toe in, trying to get their clout up, get their spotlight up a little bit. We'll see how it turns out. Hopefully it'll turn out great. I'm rooting for them. First Dead Island was a really good game. People loved it. I played it. Didn't really do it for me, but I'm really not into zombies like that. So, whatever. But, moving on to the next story now, as always, as always, I want to say this is not confirmed, okay? But, so take it with a mustard seed. I mean, god darn, mustard seed of hope here, folks. Now, a possible date has leaked for when Darksiders 3 will be released. Now, according to the Microsoft Store, it will be released on November 27th, 2018. Good grief, if this is true, my goodness, things are just burnt up for the rest of the year. I mean, pockets on swole because they injured because they empty. I mean, I wasn't really into, what's this game again? Darksiders. I wasn't really into it. Think according to people that I talked to that do absolutely love the game, they said it was more like a God of War / Zelda kind of game a little bit, kind of a mixture. I don't know how that even works, but that's what I was told. But I did check out this third one with the female protagonist, and I mean, of course, it was alpha footage, so it wasn't completed. It wasn't what the game may actually look like when it's done, but darn, it looked really, really good, man. I'm really excited to see what this game will be, when it's all done. So hopefully for people that love the franchise, love the series, this will be coming out this year to give you your fix, your Darksiders fix. So we'll see. Moving on now, this is just another sidebar. Warframe. But this is really cool, man. I gotta give Nintendo a lot of props. Warframe will be getting ported over to the Nintendo Switch by Panic Button, who also ported Rocket League, Doom, and Wolfenstein 2 to the Switch. But as of right now, no release date was given. So, we'll see. But this is dope for anybody that wants to go around portable with Warframe up on their Switch. You can enjoy yourself. Very, very much so. Now, moving on into some Nintendo rumorverse news. There have been new trademarks filed for the Nintendo GameCube software as well as the hardware, which could hint at a GameCube Classic Edition being in the works. Now, of course, I think they said Super Smash Brothers, the new one that's coming out, is going to be able to work with the original GameCube controller. So I'm sure that that's where some of this is coming from as far as the the hardware goes. Maybe it's a new GameCube controller or something with the same kind of port on the end. I don't know, but it is pretty cool to wonder if this could in fact be some of the blueprints for a new GameCube mini joint. I mean, I know that, man, I'm stretching. Oh man, I'm just being so unprofessional and not giving a rip right now, man. Dead serious. But we all know that the N64 Classic is possibly supposed to come out this year, but nobody knows for sure. We'll see, man. I mean, GameCube, I think, me personally, in my personal opinion, GameCube probably has more classics than the N64. I mean, good grief. I can only think of maybe Wave Race 64 that could make it, Mario 64, Zelda 64, what else? Maybe GoldenEye, but we know that'll never happen because of licensing and all of that stuff. Man, I don't know. I just didn't see a lot of classic N64 games. I mean, you could say, what's his name? The Bear. Banjo-Kazooie, but I mean, that's on Rare Replay now. I mean, good grief. So many of the games that were on the N64, not so many, but a few, are on Rare Replay. You know, now, let me take that back. That's not cool. That's not cool, because that's like me saying, you know, like so many other people say now, since the Xbox games are on the PC, just buy a PC. You know, that's bogus. So I definitely take that back. That would be cool to see some of those games come out. But yeah, we'll see, man. Maybe this turns into something. Maybe it doesn't. But, moving on into the last story for this week. Now, for PC game players, Monster Hunter World will release on PC August 9th of this year. So, you know, congratulations to you PC mother lovers. You'll finally be able to play a game that us console players have been playing for months now. Congratulations. But this will end this week's, gaming news section, and it's not going to be any video game theater this week. Just not feeling it. But I did want to still ask you guys a question. Is Hideo Kojima overrated? Yeah, I mean, I'm just curious to know. I mean, let's go through a little bit of his history. You know, Kojima, he started out in 1986. He worked on, the Metal Gear series from 1987 to 2015. I mean, that's a chunk. That's a gigantic chunk of his career. Now, I mean, of course, outside of that, he had a few other projects. He had Police Knots and Snatcher as well, and he produced Zone of Enders. Now, I gotta say, Police Knots and Snatcher, they were kind of like point and click adventures. No, I mean, look, the stories were amazing for the time. Yeah, it was just the stories, man. I mean, it had some anime kind of, had an anime art style to them both, but they were point and click, adventures, man. And Zone of Enders, he just produced it. He didn't do anything else. So I gotta say, man, look, with this, what is it? Death Stranding or something, happening, man, I don't know what the frick, Hideo Kojima is on with that game. I'm getting tired of the mystical, unicorn being of this game. Just tell me what the frick's going on, Kojima. Right now, it's just starting to get really, man, I mean, look, I'm not impressed. Okay. Look, I've heard walk-in simulator, FedEx delivery man, he delivers everything, including dead bodies. I get it, but it doesn't look awe-inspiring. Everybody's saying, I don't know, Kojima, he's such a genius. I mean, look, man, I thought Kojima was a genius as well. Like I've said on this show a ton of times, I thought one of the greatest boss fights ever was going against, what was his name? The the guy that was a psychic in the first Metal Gear on the PlayStation, Psycho Mantis actually, where you had to take the controller out of port 1 and put it into port 2. Phenomenal idea. Holy cow. Had never seen or witnessed anything like that in my life, in my gaming life. Absolutely phenomenal. Then you go to Metal Gear Solid 2. Who the frick knew what was going on with the Lolly Lule Lo? Who knew what was going on in that game? Convoluted. I have no idea what the story is. I still don't know. Some doggone over 10 years later, I have no idea. Metal Gear Solid Snake Eater, that was good, man. That was pretty freaking solid. No pun intended with that. Then you go to Metal Gear Solid 4. I'm gonna tell you something about Metal Gear Solid 4, man. Game is short. The game is super short. It's mostly cut scenes. I remember I was playing that game for like 4 or 5 hours straight, and I had lost progress. For some reason, my game didn't save, and I was like, oh, shucks, I can't believe it. I got to do all of this crap over again. I skipped past all of the cutscenes. I got back up to where I was at in like an hour or so. It didn't take long at all. I got up to that part, and I was like, wow, that was pretty freaking fast. A lot of filler. So, I mean, Metal Gear Solid 4, I don't know, man. I don't know. And Metal Gear Solid 5, I have it upstairs and it's still in the plastic, but, you know, so I can't personally give my take on that per se. But everybody said that they didn't like it. And I understand that Konami, you know, and Kojima were beefing at the time, so he couldn't really get out his own vision. But I don't know, man. You were working on this joint for forever. You should have been able to have finished. I mean, it does make me wonder, did Konami actually do the right thing, man? Was Kojima just being way too extra with what he was trying to do instead of just delivering the guy doggone product on time? I don't know, man. So for me, going over his resume, I mean, he might be overrated, brother. I mean, I definitely say it's a big possibility there. I think so. But I would love to get you guys' opinion on this. As always, you can email the show at the Analog Circle Podcast at gmail.com and let your voice be heard. Or if you want to fuss me out with a message, feel free to do that too by calling in at 443-216-9934. I was your host, Kiaun Mitchell, and I truly want to thank you guys for tuning in. Trust me, I just didn't care this week. Quite honestly, I love the fact that you guys tuned in. Trust me, I do, but just wasn't feeling it this week, man. But I haven't done it in a while. I wanted to do it. I love doing it, but yeah, that's about it, man. But anyway, shout out to all of the people that listen, man. You guys are amazing. You guys are excellent. And with that being said, man, always remember, though, it's not about the consoles, people. It's about the games. So with that being said, you guys take care. Be safe out there. Bye-bye.